Recess. Connie, roll call, please.
Mr. McGrady?
Here.
Ms. Cool?
Here.
Ms. Tuck? Mr. Huffman?
Present.
Mr. Reynolds?
Present.
Mr. Rexroad?
Here.
Mr. Borkowski?
Here.
Ms. Daly?
Here.
Mr. Brown?
Present. Tonight, you may have some amendments. Hopefully they will repeat the page number and the line item number. If there's any changes, and we are finished with the amendments, then we will have any of your motions can be. And I'm going to turn this over to Eric right now. I think he's got some information for us.
In front of you, you have a proposed amendment, which is standard from year to year. Due to the timing in which we receive the certificate evaluation from the assessor, that's due to us the 1st of March. However, we deliver the budget to you in February, and so this amendment accounts for the, in this case, increase in revenue estimated from the property taxes for fiscal 26. Sorry, give me just 1 second. I just noticed that I left a number out for the excess transit levy. Apologize for that. I'm going to pull that number up real quick. Okay, so on the first line there, property taxes current, an increase of $153,837, excuse me. And then the transit levy number that I didn't give to you, but I'm going to give to you right now, is an increase of $75,076. That $75,076 is to go directly to the transit authority. For the $153,837, we have proposed it to be appropriated as follows: $77,041 to capital reserve, a total of $44,423 to the street department to reflect a $1 per hour increase in addition to the 4.2% cost of living adjustment for CDL drivers in the street department. A total of $22,344 to reflect a $1 per hour increase over the 4.2% for CDL drivers in the street cleaning division, and $10,029 increase in the contribution to the Wood County Public Library, which is a statutory amount and based on the certificate evaluation. Further, in the sanitation fund, there is a total of $64,166, reflecting a $1 per hour increase in addition to the 4.2% cost of living adjustment for CDL drivers in the sanitation department. This is funded through the current surplus estimate in the fund of approximately $100,000, so it'll reduce that surplus surplus in the fund by $64,166.
Mr. Mayor?
No, Mayor, you go.
I just want to give a summation with regards to, because I know everybody's super thrilled with regards to the transit authority number, and of course the library's statutory, we don't have any real control over that, but some quick calculations that Eric did for me, because he did it quicker than I did. So what is being proposed with this amendment on top of the originally proposed budget is this is on average. In the sanitation department, $1.59 per hour increase, or 11.4%. With regards to the street department, an average of $1.68 per hour, or 10.4% wage increase. With the street cleaning, it's an average of $1.70 per hour, and represents a 10.2% increase. So I just another way to look at what the proposed amendment means to the wages with regards to positions which require a commercial driver's license, whether it be an A or a B license. Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Ms. Cole?
Eric, I don't know if you can give us these figures tonight. You may not be able to. But how much would it cost? Let's go with sanitation. That seems to be what everyone's concentrating on. How much more would it cost to bring them up, with including the 4.2%, to $2 an hour increase? You can't give us those figures tonight, can you?
And I have to go through a set of calculations, so.
Whether or not you can give us those figures tonight or not is whether or not we're just going to continue with what we wanted to do. So I'll yield the floor to Mike.
Mr. Chairman, are you ready to make amendments, to take amendments?
That's up to you, Mr. Chairman.
Well, to Sharon's point, what we're trying to do, and I think how I'm going to propose it, the amendments, is make amendments to different parts of the budget, put it into contingency, but earmark it for pay raises for those three departments that you mentioned: sanitation, streets, and street cleaning. And that way, we would have a week or two to get those numbers from you. In other words, if let's say we make 6 amendments, we put it into one pot, but we know that that's going to go into the contingency, and it's going to be used solely for the pay of the employees in sanitation, street, and street cleaning. And that gives you time, because you've already got, if we approve this, this amendment, then we've already approved an 11.4, a 10.4, and a 10.2 pay raise in those three departments, correct? Because I just got this for CDL. Well, then if we are able to come up with, let's just say $100,000, and we put it into contingency, earmarked for pay raises for those same employees, then that would give you time to tell us how far that money's going to go. Because it's hard to come up with that tonight. I mean, I know that you've got different employees, different departments, make different pay, insurance, and all that stuff you have to calculate. Is that correct?
The total to get us from 4.2% to $1.59 or 68 or whatever is 130,000. So 130,000 and some change. Okay,
That's
so
in this amendment, or that's what we need to find over and above this
no,
amendment?
that's this amendment.
Okay.
So I guess what I'm saying is that without having time to calculate what that would be, I can tell you $100,000 is way too much to get there.
So, could you give us a ballpark number of what it
I mean,
would
you
take?
wanna, if you would like to pause, then I can do my best.
Yeah, if you could, that would be appreciated.
Mr. Chair, can we, pause for a few minutes while, see if Mr. Giles comes up with this, if he's able to, if not, we'll go to plan B.
Well,
Let's say
Mr. John, how much time do you need? I mean, because we could go ahead and put it in contingency fund and then take it to finance.
Well, I'm just gonna give you a ballpark for what you're wanting to do as far as whatever amount to put in the contingency line item. But I don't want you to be honest, I don't want you to remove a lot of expense
Yeah,
and then just to have it move it back later. That's highly inefficient.
yeah.
So I don't want you to move entirely too much if that's what this council votes to do. So if you'll just give me a moment, I'll give you a ballpark.
Thank you.
Mr. Ryan, when you start the contingency, where you want to come out, please put the number and
Yeah, I did.
where we're going, what page we're on,
Oh.
so the whole council can hear.
Yeah, this is my 20th year doing this.
Thank
Yeah, thank you.
While you're waiting, sir, if you'd like, I'm sure Blaine will give you his comments on you, the next step you've asked him.
I have no idea.
I like yours more. Hey, why not? Who you brought back?
How about Jared Calhoun? Yeah. If Utah State loses tonight, you may find out pretty soon.
I know Greenfield out west. I don't want to. I retired.
For sanitation, it would be an additional $26,308.03. And in the general fund for streets, in street cleaning, it would be $20,878.60. And if I may make a recommendation, as I understand what you're trying to do, if you look in the budget on page 52, 52. The third category there is 699 contingency. There's a line item called contingency reserve. And there is already $50,000 there. And I would suggest that that will cover the $20,878.60 that's needed for the street cleaning department. Okay?
So, Mr. Chairman, so right now with sanitation, to get them up to $2 on the hour, $2 more, and streets, we need $47,186.
No,
roughly.
Well, that's
to the two departments that you told us so far.
yes, that's correct, but they're two different funds, so I'm addressing them one at a time here, if I may. So, as I said, for the general fund portion, I believe you're already funded in the contingency line item for that. Okay? For the sanitation fund, if you'll turn to page 82, please. And look under 2526, second line from the bottom, surplus / deficit. You'll see there's the initial $100,082 surplus that I have estimated. Now, the amendment that I handed to you includes $64,166 toward that. So back that off, you have about $35,000 left right there. Okay? Which is enough to cover the additional $26,308 that you need to get the sanitation to $2. And if that's I guess what I'm trying to say is for what you're wanting to do, I believe that the funding is available.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to ask Mr. Charles a question. So we take sanitation to bring them up to $2. I just want to make sure.
And that, just to be clear, that's $2 total.
Right, exactly. So what item number,
Line item,
would we?
there's several here. You're going to have several line items to do all this.
Okay.
All right?
Well, I know that we're going to need it for street and, street cleaning and street department, but for sanitation, since this is under sanitation fund, and there's no line item number for surplus, what do we use, the fund balance?
That is the fund, yeah, that's fund. That surplus is at the fund balance, so that is where the money would
So
reside.
we would use the 29900, correct? And then we're gonna,
what I'm suggesting to you is this. Quite frankly, what I'm suggesting is this, is that no matter what you do here, whether you take it and you put it in a contingency or resides in fund balance, there needs to be a budget revision at a later date after this budget is adopted. That has to happen regardless of what you do right now.
Exactly.
Now, Mr. Reynolds' suggestion of placing that into contingency, as I pointed out, that amount is already available in that contingency, which can be used with a budget revision at a later date. Okay? Same with the fund balance in sanitation. That's where it will reside. Okay? And so at some point later, between now and July, there would be a revision. Regardless of what you do right now,
Exactly.
there will be a revision. So I'm suggesting that to make this happen, this budget is adopted and we do a revision, because we're gonna need to anyway.
Okay. Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
and it's also, I'm sure council is well aware, that in addition, what you're dealing with now are appropriations. In addition to whatever you appropriate, at some time before July 1st, council will need to adopt a separate ordinance that would implement your intent with regard to these raises, adjusting the salary ranges and doing whatever else is necessary on. So, as Eric indicated, obviously at that time, if there are some adjustments that need to be made, you can still do those by budget revision. There's other action that council would need to take to implement these appropriations and their intent anyway.
Mr. Chairman, may I clarify that with Mr. Myers? So, to clarify the intent, would that be in the form of a motion to put the surplus balance and the contingency funds and earmark those for raises for sanitation and streets?
Well,
Be that specific?
Well, what I hear Eric saying, and he's obviously the accountant and I'm not, but what he's saying, I think, is there's enough money there in these surplus or contingency line items to utilize and to fund these contemplated raises that you're discussing. So I don't know that you would need to do anything else on the appropriation side based on what I'm hearing. If there's enough money there that you can make the budget revisions as necessary when you, or not exactly the same time, but along with sometime before July 1st, so you can put these raises into place by ordinance.
I just didn't hear you say that we need to make a motion to earmark the contingencies for that
There's
purpose.
no,
I don't think you can do that by budget revision later.
if I can be clear, there's no such thing as an earmark, only an appropriation, okay? And so, your intent is clear, but the only action that I understand you could take would be a budget revision at a later date.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make some amendments. Discretionary funding, page 5-4.
I'm sorry. What, regarding the amendment that I handed out,
We need to adopt
you
that.
need to adopt it, so I don't know if you wanna do
Yeah, let's
that.
do that. I'll
If
make
I may, it just makes, when he's going through here and balancing the budget, it just makes it easier.
Sure. Sure.
As opposed to have to go back and do it.
Just a second. We need a motion.
I'll
I am
second.
making that.
I'll second.
Discussion? Just to clarify, this budget amendment talks about the $1 per hour. We've already changed the intention. Are we adopting this at the $1?
That's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is taking the money out, the surplus in, streets and also in sanitation and putting it over in contingency fund. That's what we
We're making the motion to adopt the amendment that Mr. Giles gave us first, which will give the sanitation 11.4% increase in pay for the CDL operators, streets 10.4, street cleaning 10.2, and I think that's the motion on the floor is to adopt the amendments that
As
the Finance Department has
I
given us.
just want to be clear, the 11.4 is an average. There are folks that have been here 6 months that might be making less, so that's an average. And more importantly, the amendment is appropriating additional ad valorem estimations or valuations, correct? And the previously budgeted surplus portion of it from sanitation. And, if I may, sir. Sorry. You know, there is in this budget, the original handed out, a $4 per month, $48 annual sanitation rate increase already. So this would be effective July 1, correct? So just want, I know you know that, but I just want to remind everybody, with this budget, as it was originally presented, there was already a $4 per month rate increase. I'm supportive of the amendment that was handed out to you. Well, I wouldn't have him handed out to you, but I want everybody to be very mindful of the, and I'm going to believe it was $100,084, that whatever was the budgeted surplus, that's going to be non-existent if you go with Plan A, which I will call this amendment that we passed out, Plan A, Plan B, the additional to go to $2. There will be rate increase again next year, and I'm okay with that. I mean, but you need to be aware that fund, I'm talking about sanitation specifically now, we budgeted deficits in sanitation in the past. We cannot do that on a regular basis. That would put us out of compliance with regards to auditor rules and different, there's problems with that. So I am supportive of the original amendment, what what it passed out, but just be mindful a year from now, or 11 months from now, when you get a new budget, there's going to be continued rate increases to we budgeted a surplus because I won't get into all the minutia of it, but there's capital stuff. So this is not a which is fine. We budget year to year, but when we're talking about salaries, that's forever money. That's we do a lot of stuff one-offs, right? We do a lot of one-offs, fix a sidewalk, whatever, different capital projects, cool stuff. But this is forever money. So when you appropriate, there's got to be revenue to offset that. So I just want to make that clear.
Mr. Chair, I'd just like to make a statement. I'm fully aware, as all council members are, that there is going to be a rate increase for the citizens of Parkersburg in the amount of $4 on their sanitation bills. I do not have a problem paying that. Maybe some people do, but we listen to the people. We listen to the people that came. And 90% of them did not even know how our budget worked. But boy, they called for sanitation to get pay raises. We're doing it. We're doing it. Unfortunately, there's consequences to that because we have to have continuing revenue. I'm just giving this statement because I want people to know. We listened to you. We told you it would be taken care of in budget. We're taking care of it in budget. But don't be yelling at your city council member because every one of us live in the city. We pay the same rates that you do. There will be a rate increase again, probably next year. But we listened to you. We listened to everything that was said. So I hope that you all realize we did listen. And those rate increases are coming.
Do we have, Mr. Chairman, do we have a motion to adopt the amendment in a second?
Yes, sir.
Are we waiting on somebody?
No, we're waiting on a minute.
Oh, okay. I just want to call for the vote, I'm not running this meeting.
Mr. McCready?
Yes.
Ms. Cool?
Yes.
Ms. Tuck?
Yes.
Mr. Huffman?
Yes.
Mr. Reynolds?
Yes.
Mr. Rexroad?
Yes.
Mr. Polkowski?
Yes.
Ms. Daly?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a handful of amendments to the budget. On page 5.4, well, that's what I'm doing. On page 5.4, I'm going to talk slow because I know sometimes these pages stick together. Account number 568030, Multicultural Festival. I make the motion that we take the $5,000 from that line item and put it into contingency for pay raises for the CDL operators in the 3 departments of sanitation, streets, and street cleaning. The Multicultural Festival this year is going to be in Belfry, and next year probably as well, because there's going to be a big beautiful building built in the park, and the park's going to be too tore up to have the Multicultural Festival there. So I don't see there's any reason to give them $5,000 so they can take it to Belfry and have the festival. So that's my motion.
Second.
I'd like to make a comment towards that.
I can't tell you.
The festival is being held in Belfry for this fiscal year that we're in currently, due to the construction work going on. I spoke with them, they are not receiving the funding this year from the city of Parkersburg for that festival in Belfry. Now, when I spoke to them regarding their application, I explicitly asked them, are you returning to the city of Parkersburg next year? And they did say, yes, they are. And so I said, okay, we'll process it as though you will be in the city, at the city park, for your $5,000 request. So I just want to make that clear that next year they have asserted to us, the mayor and I both, that they will be in Parkersburg at the city park next year.
If the park's ready. Isn't it, Mayor, isn't it a 1.5 or 2 year building project?
The original completion date was April of 2026. So I understand where you're coming from, and don't take this the wrong way. I don't think it matters. If I assure you, as long as I'm the mayor, we're not going to fund an event that's not in the city. But if, like I said, the original, and we have a meeting, it's on my calendar, within the next couple weeks. I mean, we'll have a better idea. You know, if you've ever been involved in a large project, we call them Gantt, I call them Gantt charts. I don't know what they use with this particular outfit, but that will track their estimated completion date throughout. So, but April of 26 was the original, and honestly, they lost Adam Everett 5 weeks because of the weather. Is that accurate? You can just say yes or no. Is that about right? So right now they're 5 weeks behind. I mean, they lost 5 weeks' time. They could make it up. I mean, quite frankly, they've been over there. But I don't think this is a huge issue. If they're going to have the festival there next June, we'll find fun. I mean, I would propose something. So if you move it, you move it. But Eric's accurate in that their intent a few months ago was to be in the city park for their 26th festival, which is in June. So.
Mr. Chairman, do we have any idea how many people that brings in, like how much couple
If I
thousand.
may, Mr. Rexford and I can measure how many fish we catch, but that's a different story. It has been very difficult to estimate the economic impact of all of these events, from everything from the multicultural festival to the honey festival to the Parkersburg homecoming. This is community development stuff. I think you measure the success or the impact by either going or driving by and seeing how many people are there. I assure you, if it pours the rain down all weekend, they all are less than successful. I believe, to Mr. Reynolds' point, the new building will change a lot of that because we'll have a space, if it's raining, way better than the pavilion used to be, 147 degrees, and muggy. So, but I don't think it's a fair estimate. I think, that all these events have their own niche. I don't know that I can answer that. I don't think anybody could.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Mr. Davis.
Eric, just correct me if I'm wrong. I thought you said we don't need to pull money from anywhere else because the money's already there, so I'm sort of asking you, Mike, why would we need to pull it? Because it's already there.
Well, we're trying to put enough money in the pot to get the CDL operators the additional money. We're trying to get them up to $2 on the hour. Right now, with the amendment that we just adopted, they're at $1.40, $1.50. We're trying to take money from different areas.
But my understanding was when we had the discussion is that Eric's saying the money's there, so we just have to make a budget revision and we actually don't need to move a bunch of money around because money's already there. Is that what I heard?
Yes, that's correct.
Well, I guess there's two different ways to do it, but either way, we could do a budget revision, but I've put a lot of time into different areas where we could take money that I feel like would be good, but we don't have to do that. We can just have a budget revision of finance, I guess, but
No, I'm fine to hear them. I just wondered if I understood right, and then I was trying to figure out where this was going. Go ahead and finish all your line items. That's fine. I just had questions.
I was on my second.
No, we do have a motion and a second on the floor.
I'm withdrawing my second.
Okay, we have, she's withdrawing the second. There's no motion. Any other amendment?
I've got another amendment, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Page 5-6. Line item 421-458-000, the gateway sign. There's $45,000 in that line item, I believe. I make a motion that we put that into contingency for the cause that we're talking about tonight, which is increase in the base pay for the CDO operators in those three departments: sanitation, streets, and street cleaning.
I have one question. Mr. Giles, do we or do we not need to make these contingency requests?
Can you hear me? Okay. I'm not going to give an opinion on that, but I will tell you that what the intention is, as I understand, to bring those CDL drivers from $1 and whatever to $2. No, then that's not necessary because there's already an amount in contingency to cover.
Okay. I just know that Mr. Reynolds and I spent a lot of time coming up with monies. I wish we would have known this issues with you, but I appreciate it, but thank you.
If I may, with regards to the gateway sign, you know, this is an 8-year process, I guess, with replacing these signs. I mean, this is, you know, priorities change. I get it. I mean, I remain supportive of it because this would be quote unquote the last one of the, Ryan, help me out, 5 or 4?
This would be the 5th.
This would be the 5th and final from a plan that was, for lack of a better term, adopted by City Council starting in 2017. Now they have become more expensive, probably $10,000 roughly more today than they were 8 years ago. But again, through the process of presenting a balanced budget, getting back a balanced budget, we didn't appropriate, but basically one, I think we did 2 a couple early on. So they've been well received. We tried to play fair in that we did one in South Parkersburg Gateway, we did one in North, we did another one in South. So, you know, like I said, it was a big deal in 2017 in the budget process. We gotta make these signs are old and ugly and they're crap. I mean, Mike, you were here. So, you know, I like, and maybe this is not a good way to craft. I like checking things off the box. We put a plan together 8 years ago. This completes that plan. Now these things take forever. You got to get it right away from the state, or right away from the property owner. You know, you got to get, you know, 11 of the 12 disciples to come in and give you a blessing. That's why it's here. 8 years after. I mean, it was these signs, and you've seen them. They look like a bridge. I think McCready was on the design committee the first time. So this, you know, this is not essential to our community. Make no mistake about it. But they're pretty, they're lit up, they look better. They look better than green Parkersburg corporate limit. So that's why some of you, there's at least 4 of you here, who are like, what the heck is this? Or 3 of you anyway, or whatever. That's why. But, you know, sometimes these things take time to bring to fruition.
Mr. Chairman? I like the idea of finishing the sign. I think we could do that with the budget revision, but it seems to me that the sanitation is more urgent, and also it would bring down that gap between the budget, the surplus, and the deficit. So I like the idea of designating the $45 per sign to the contingency fund and then holding the budget revision as a time to finish the gateway sign. I think that would work.
Mayor, I would just reiterate again, it's back to my original comments with regard to sanitation's got to pay for itself. So it's got to be driven by revenue. So, I mean, you can certainly do it, but you know, this is the wrong, not wrong, that to take it out of capital reserve and move it into sanitation is only making the sanitation fund less self-sustaining. We, you know, and I include myself in this. We got to figure out a way to make sure sanitation pays for itself year over year over year over year. And taking, you know, I commonly refer to this, and Eric sometimes slaps me because it's one-time money. Now, sometimes it's one-time money that stays in the fund for a while. We're reserving for a piece of equipment or something. This is money, you know, I would caution all of you moving money from capital reserve into a salary line item, even if you take it to contingency first. That's not where you, I mean, if you don't want to do the gateway sign, take it and move it, but don't put it into a salary line item in a totally separate fund. You're just, quite frankly, making future deficits more, well, frankly, you're kicking the can down the road. Is that a fair assessment? And the right thing to do is not always popular, is to quit kicking the can down the road. Because and again, I supported the First Amendment. We'll call that our amendment. But we paid for it with revenue, number one. Number two, personnel is always going to be our number one expense. I go back to the total comp piece. That money, once it's there forever, which, if I may, sir, I like to think of myself, if I were a football coach, I would be a process guy. Our process of using savings that we've generated, for lack of a better term, from our pension plan and our pension savings over the years, that's what's paid for cost of living adjustments for the last 8 years. And steady drip wears away the stone. So that's why wages are up. And our wages, even more so with the recently adopted, unanimously adopted amendment, are tracking above Social Security cost of living in the last 5 years. And now inflation is close. I mean, it's close. But just be mindful. It's like when I've had conversations with several of you over the years. When you do salary stuff, it's forever. And I've been fortunate, from a city perspective, to never have to lay anybody off or tell a department head, you can't hire that person. Because the process has worked. So I just be mindful. If you don't, putting that money to salaries is not, I'm not going to say it's improper, but we paid for this with revenue. Salaries need to be paid for with revenue. And that's what the amendment did. We had revenue in the ad valorem. We proposed using it for salaries. We had surplus. That's not, that's surplus revenue. That's what you guys did. So,
And if I could add to that, it's not necessary because in sanitation, because as I pointed out, even with an adjustment that you want to do to get to that $2, there's still enough surplus in there right now. Okay, so what you're doing then is at that point, you're moving money that you don't have to, and you're depriving elsewhere, which in a way that's not necessary, in my opinion, is from a budgetary standpoint.
Mr. Chairman, I'm not sure where we're at with the meeting. Do we have a motion in a second, or we don't? Can you read back the motion in a second, please?
Well, the last one for the gateway, $45,000 was, they've both been withdrawn. The seconds have been
Call for the
withdrawn.
vote, please.
There is nothing.
Oh, did we?
So
There's nothing on the floor?
No, sir.
I'm Mike's motion to put the gateway into the contingency, and I seconded it.
Oh, I thought it was Ms. Cool.
That was different. That was the multi.
I'm lost. I feel like this meeting's running really slow, and it's just a little bit frustrating. And I'm not saying it's because there's so much conversation back and forth about different things. I'm not sure where we're at, to be honest.
I heard a motion on the gateway signs, and I believe, I agree that Ms. Tuck seconded it.
Okay.
There was an earlier second on a different motion withdrawn.
So did we have?
But even if that's not true, you could remake the motion and remake the second to get it on the floor.
I'd like to make some amendments. I don't have I've got a handful, but it just kind of goes towards the cause that we're all here trying to do. We're all here trying to get the CDL. I think. Maybe we're wrong, but I think most of us are trying to get $2 more on the hour for the CDL operators across the city. So, I mean, I and Sharon and I have met for 37 hours on this budget, and we, I came up with things, I think she's got things. I'd like to make the amendments, whether they get voted up or voted down, that's whatever, but I feel like that goes towards, I'd like to make all those emotions and put them towards that. I feel like we should do that tonight, and then we'll know if we can get there. And then maybe we don't have to have a budget revision.
If that second was by Ms. Tuck, we have a motion on the floor.
Okay, I'd like to call for the vote on the gateway, please.
Mr. McCready?
Yes.
Ms. Cool?
I'm sorry, I forget what the motion was.
It's 45,000 gateway money.
Yes.
Ms. Tuck?
Yes.
Mr. Huffman?
Yes.
Mr. Reynolds?
Yes.
Mr. Rexroad?
Yes.
Mr. Bulkowski?
No.
Ms. Daly?
No.
Mr. Brown?
No.
Motion passes. Okay,
Now, I have a question here. We still have to take the cap money from the capital reserve and then put that to the motion. The 26,000 and the other city and state, the extra to get there. Is that included in that?
That'll be at a later date, because I didn't have time, I don't have time to calculate the different line item breakout, so.
Thank you. Is there any other amendments?
Mr. Chairman, I move to rise and report to City Council that we have finished the budget for fiscal 25-26 as amended and recommend adoption.
Second.
who was it? Who was the second, please? Thank you.
Vote, please.
Mr. McCready?
Yes.
Ms. Cool?
Yes.
Ms. Tuck? Yes. Mr. Huffman?
Yes.
Mr. Reynolds?
Yes.
Mr. Rexroad?
Yes.
Mr. Bulkowski?
Yes.
Ms. Daly?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes. Then you are sitting as city council, and your motion will be, when I move to accept the report of the committee as a whole, and to adopt the budget 2025-26 as amended. Second. Right?
Yes, we need a motion. Is that your motion, sir?
That's a motion. Need a second.
Second.
Ready for the vote?
Everybody know?
To accept the committee, the whole report, and adopt the budget.
I move that we move and accept, it's only, yeah, already had a vote. Ready to vote. Ready to vote.
Yes.
Mr. McCready? Ms. Cool?
Yes.
Ms. Tuck?
Yes.
Mr. Huffman?
Yes.
Mr. Reynolds? Mr. Rexroad?
Yes.
Mr. Bulkowski?
Yes.
Ms. Daly? Mr. Brown?
Yes. And this meeting is adjourned.